Good evening. I will read each topic in turn, keeping each summary to 3 to 4 lines so it's easy to follow. Topic 1. Recent headlines reflect a mix of geopolitics, markets, tech rivalry, and consumer strain. U.S. Iran talks marked by mixed messaging from President Trump, who said negotiations were orderly and constructive, but insisted he would not rush, and warnings from former CIA Director David Petraeus that any agreement must reopen the Strait of Hormuz unconditionally and prevent Iran from charging transit fees, have driven market moves and oil volatility. Oil fell on diplomatic hopes, WTI around $92, Brent near 98, down roughly 4 to 6%. But prices remain elevated after a post-war surge of more than 30%. The Strait of Hormuz handles about 20% of global oil and LNG flows. Hundreds of thousands of barrels per day of production remain offline. Inventories are depleted, and experts warn prices could spike again until tankers, insurance, and production recover. Financial markets rallied in Asia and Europe. Japan's Nikkei hit a record above 65,000, and other major indices rose, but concerns remain over excessive optimism. War risk has driven war risk insurance premiums and shipping costs dramatically higher. The U.S. says it will keep a blockade until any agreement is signed. AI-driven memory demand has buoyed chip prices, yet innovations like Google's TurboQuant could reduce memory needs, and higher energy costs are pushing up fuel, fertilizer, and food prices while delaying Gulf tech investments. So even if diplomatic signals lower short-term risk premia, physical oil flows and the details of any deal leave substantial uncertainty. Topic 2. AI and regulation. The Pope urges tighter AI rules amid warnings about autonomous weapons, even as companies weigh practical AI adoption. Pope Leo XIV, in the new encyclical Magnifica Humanitas, strongly warned of AI's risks, urged slower development, strict legal and supervisory frameworks, a ban on delegating lethal decisions to autonomous weapons, limits on leaving data ownership solely to private hands, protections for children and workers, and measures to curb excessive corporate dominance. The Pope linked AI to amplified instability and conflict, rejecting justifications that war can be made just. While practical business decisions show strains, Target India is reassessing tool rollouts because token-based usage pricing forces a reappraisal of cost versus benefit. Hedge funds and investors maintain record-high tech exposures, even as memory cycle risks and efficiency breakthroughs could cut demand. And Senator Bernie Sanders warned that concentrated AI control could displace workers and concentrate wealth, calling for oversight to protect jobs and democracy. The common message is that governance, data stewardship, and labor protections must be strengthened, while usage-based pricing and investment bubbles shape real adoption. Topic 3. Huawei is planning new smartphone chips this fall amid intensifying competition with NVIDIA and Apple. Huawei says its new Kirin chips will introduce a homegrown design called LogicFolding, and the company frames its approach as a tau scaling law, claiming it has designed and produced 381 chips over 6 years, and that folding layouts from 1 layer to 2 will yield large efficiency gains, and by 2031, performance comparable to an effective 1.4 nanometer class. The announcement comes as NVIDIA faces export limits to China, and after Huawei's Mate 60 success shook Apple's China share, suggesting greater competitive pressure on iPhone sales. However, industry analysts caution Huawei has not solved the manufacturing, yield, heat management, EUV equipment access challenges of a true 1.4 nanometer process, and stacked, folded designs may improve density but leave unresolved issues in data center scale, thermal, and packaging performance. So the strategy could reshape the Chinese smartphone race short-term, but broad technical and mass production verification remains uncertain. Topic 4. The creation of a new Murdoch empire signals a major media restructuring.